So I took a quick look over the photos. I found the spot where the screw goes. The extra screw I had, it's down here by the motor mount. So there's a position right there for this screw. Dropped in, and there it is. And that gets all the interior screws installed. There's 4 left to hold the case together. We'll worry about that later. I'm going to go ahead and get that line cord out of the way here, just because we no longer need it. It's just in the way. It's going to be irritating. I don't have any super glue, but I do have some 2-part JB weld here, which I'm very sure works on plastic as well. Like I say, I want to get this post remounted. Based on how it sits there, I think it'll sit in alignment just fine if it's positioned correctly, which is right there. There's this little piece that got chipped out that goes in here. That will be glued from the inside. So that little piece there pushes down into this slot here to secure the CIA or the SIO cable. And at some point it's been jerked and broke out, and I'm just going to put some epoxy in behind it to hold it in place. Kind of like the screw lengths in here to be the same. That one seems awfully long, and it is. It makes me wonder where I put in the wrong screw. My instinct was to put that longer one in here. Yeah, those should be... Actually, no, I want the longer one because it's got to go through the grounding loop as well. So yeah, we'll leave that alone. We'll mix up some epoxy here. Broken flat blade screwdriver here. As I remember, this is just equal amount of 2 parts. Oh, that's thick. Wonder if that's supposed to be that thick. There it goes. I'm starting to turn. We've got a white and a black component, and when they're steered together sufficiently, we should end up with what we see here as kind of a gray or silver. What did I do with the post? Let me get it in. It sits in like that. What I'll do is I'll let that sit for a bit, and then I'll build a little bit of epoxy up around it. And for this guy, I'm just going to epoxy him in from the inside. I'm not going to try to get epoxy into the actual crack where the plastic's broke. I just want to hold it in place without making too huge a mess here, which I'm doing. Got a little bit of epoxy right there on the case, which I didn't want to do. I think that'll be enough to hold that in place. I don't know. actually get some of this in here around the base or not. Yeah, and the interior, it's not beautiful glue job, but it is what it is. I just need it to be strong enough to hold. We will trash that. We'll put the glue back where the glue goes. Why do I have a screw floating around out here? Because I didn't put it in there. Okay. So I really think at this point this is it. That doesn't look to be in as flush as it started out to be. How come? Did it move? Yeah, it moved as I was applying the epoxy. It's better. Not a whole lot more I can do here until tomorrow. I need that epoxy to set up. I guess I could conceivably mount the transformer. I could get that piece done. So as I remember right, was it mounted in this orientation? Or was it... It was this way, because the wire ties were sitting back in here. Let me heat up soldering station. We'll get this green wire removed here. We're going to take the line cord. I'm going to feed it through before I split it, because I think it'll be easier to work with. Why does that not look... No, so I think it'll, like I say, I think it'll be easier to work with if I feed it through and then strip it after it's fed through. So there's where it was originally wrapped around. I need a little bit more length than that because of what I cut off. It pushes down. Hopefully this is on camera. It gets looped back down into there and then out like so. This guy gets screwed down over the top to hold it in the strain relief. Oops. Oh, of course it dropped into a position that makes it impossible to get it back out of. There it is. So we have the strain relief in place. And we can look at stripping this. It's going to be a little bit interesting to do. It'd be better off to try to cut it. What I don't want to do is cut the insulation off the green wire. to do exactly that. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess off here. That wasn't done by whoever put this together the first time, but I'm going to do it. Just because it'll be a little bit neater inside. Nice and stinky. We will strip. Again, hopefully I am on camera with this work. Let me take this wire and tin it up well. Take this guy that's going to get soldered back onto it, and this is going to be kind of interesting to do. I'd like to get some fresh solder on this without burning myself. Oops. So far I haven't burnt myself, which is kind of a miracle. And that should be enough to reach down around there. Transformer in place. The shorter screw with the little lock washer. Actually, no, the lock washer went over on the other side. This is going to go right here. The longer screw with the lock washer. It's going to go through here. These get connected to those. Let's see, I'm going to want, I think I'm going to double shrink wrap this. Certainly don't need that piece of solder floating around in here. Or that one. Now I'm going to want a couple of pieces on these. I think, or, you know, I think it's just going to end up being those. Let's try to get a bit of a pigtail here. Get those caught together. Oh, that's not pretty at all. We need to strip a bit more here. We'll wrap better with a bit more stripped. Assuming it'll actually strip. There we go. That's more of what I wanted. Little tiny bit of, oh shoot. I just poured out like a half gallon of flux. What the heck? What the heck? It just flowed and flowed. That was really bizarre. Why would so much flux flow out? Well, I'll be cleaning flux out of in there. Enough. Let's expose a little bit more wire here. Why are you being so stubborn? All I want you to do is just kind of wrap around there. So I've got a taste of a mechanical connection. That's really weird. It's just free flowing out of here like that. I'm not having to squeeze it at all. I'm not concerned with how I've hooked this up here for the primary. These could be reversed either way. It just doesn't matter in this case. There's no polarity indicated on the transformer, and there shouldn't be. It just doesn't matter. The transformer is creating galvanic isolation, which means the primary side here is insulated from the secondary side. There's no connections through. So the orientation of this just doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine the way it is. Let's see if we can get these shrunk. Nope. Plug's the wrong way around. Apologies if my head's in shot. Hopefully I can get both of these to shrink up without putting too much heat elsewhere. Set that aside since it's now hot. I'm happy with that. I'm actually going to use that little guy to hold it down. That's what the extended piece there, that's what it's for, is a bit of cable management. When the glue's set, this really should just set back down inside. This cable, of course, goes in the slot here, the SIO cable. So it's really now just let the epoxy set up, finish the reassembly, and we should be good to go. So we'll find out if the electronics work in a future video. So let me turn the tools off here. Can't think of anything else I need to do. We've used all the screws. I'm glad that I actually spotted in the photographs the screw back here. It was obvious when I took a look in the photos about, oh, yep, screw right there. So it'll be nice to have this thing back together. The case cleaned up well. I didn't do a whole lot of scrubbing or anything, just warm water, a little gentle persuasion, and dried it off. Picked up a couple little bits of crud here off the desk or the work surface, but that's okay. Anyhow, I think that does it for this point. I mean, all that's left is just to put it together and drive in screws, and I can do that off video. So I'll see you in a future video.